Okay, so I wanted to talk about the ESPY award. I don't know if this has happened yet, or it's coming up pretty quick here with regard to Prince Harry receiving this thing. Now I've known about this for a few days, and sports has just become more and more um, a brainwashing technique versus real. Um, you're not seeing as much competition, I believe. I think a lot of these games are thrown. I think a lot of players are sometimes put up there just because of their skin color. Oops, what's going on here? Okay, I'm right. Fucking ridiculous. Yeah, all I have to do is touch the screen of this thing and it just goes crazy. I don't even know. I don't even. Okay. And let's see. Alex Jones talked about this quite a while back, where he said just look for the military to come in and start having a big presence in the NFL. Look for this to happen, look for that to happen. And it used to be, I'd say a couple of decades ago, guys were down on the field praying, and they were, God was a big deal in the NFL. When I was working with the NFL, it was that phase of it. And then after 2000, it just, and especially after 9/11, it just kind of slowly went into another direction. And now it's just full tilt. It's used as almost a propaganda arm. So these are just my opinions. I mean, I could elaborate further on that, but all you have to do is just see something like this in order for you to get to say, oh, yeah, definitely. Now, Stu, he's okay. I do watch his show. Most of the time, I am not tuned in for the whole thing. I think it, I think he could go so far, but he's choosing a certain path for himself, where he sometimes is really right on, and then other times you just want to scream. He has weird guests on and that really aren't very effective. He'll just pick some random podcaster that just basically says a few talking points of the right, and everyone's like, not really. Not if you look at the live chat when this thing is on at 5 p.m. Central Time. His show on Rumble is where I watch it. So let's listen to this about Prince Harry and the ESPY award, or excuse me, the Pat Tillman Award.
Global elite, especially those in Israel, ESPN recently announced that it would be awarding Prince Harry, this fake, dejected British prince who left the royal family with his biracial wife so that he could make a living as a professional liberal. They're going to present him with an ESPY award named in honor of Pat Tillman. Now, for those of you who don't know, the ESPYs are ESPN's annual awards, like an Oscar or a Grammy for people in the sports world, and so, of course, nobody really cares about them. But they do have an award named after Pat Tillman, the former NFL player who walked out on a multi-million-dollar contract.
Okay, so this was during the time where, these guys were into praying, into the flag, all that shit. So after 9/11, he quit his football. He was offered a huge contract, and then he quit in order to join the military. There is, apparently there are more than one. There's at least one book out. He apparently was exposing an opium trade issue going on, and then was killed by friendly fire. And there has been a controversy about this. Okay. He's really a good-looking guy. Now, he was offered a $3 million contract, but if you look back on what $3 million was in 2001 and 2000 versus 2002, 3, whatever, versus today, we have such ridiculous inflation And the dollar has been so damn devalued, slowly and intentionally, by an especially moronic person in the White House right now. The guy's not running the country. He's crazy. It's crazy that we even have him in there. Okay, so I don't really want to focus on Biden right now. Let's because I can feel myself getting tired, and I don't want to. I just really want to get this info out. So sorry about that. Okay, I know I sound stupid, but let's keep going, because some of this shit that Stu is saying is a little bit over the top. So don't tune out. I know you guys tune out. Oh my God, she said something bad about that. Well, you have to have an open mind, and not. There are many different opinions out there. We have a really failing world right now. It's really, really fucking. There are lots of problems out there. Many problems for every country at the moment. And it seems as though, for me anyway, the U.S. is spearheading a lot of this shit with its wars, and it's really upsetting me. Now, that being said, you have Prince Harry, who Americans view as, oh, he was rogue and left the royal family, and isn't that cool? Isn't that wonderful? They don't really know the backstory of Harry leaving to make money and shit like that. I believe that he was much more happy in Great Britain. I believe that he was much more happy without Meghan Markle in his life. Most of these people do not realize that they weren't dating. They had something like 3 dates, and she moved in with him, and I believe blackmailed him into marriage. All you have to do is watch that wedding, and if you tell me that's a happy guy, it's not. He's not. He looks half in the bag. He has total drug abuse problems and probably alcohol issues and whatnot. And he looks like he wants to turn around and get the fuck out of there and get on a plane and be anywhere but there. She reminds me of Mrs. Robinson in The Graduate, where she's sexually controlling a man, and she's older, and she's just like kind of an old witch that then kind of goes out to try to just ruin this guy's life. That seems like what Meghan is to me, if you know the story of The Graduate, where she just is going to destroy that guy because he doesn't want to lay her anymore. He doesn't want to do what she wants him to. And then he falls in love with someone else, her daughter, which is obviously more appropriate. And she makes up, here's the deal. I believe that Meghan blackmailed Harry. We all know the story. American media does not know the story. I also do not believe those kids are real. I believe she faked both pregnancies. We have never really seen the kids. They show a picture of Harry with a supposed child that I believe is nothing more than a mannequin. Very, very easy to pull off. I was watching one of these crime stories on one of these crime shows on, I think, Discovery or something like, I don't know. I really haven't watched anything like that, but like Dateline or something, where they staged pictures of someone being murdered. And it was like the police officer, and what they did was they went in there with makeup and hired professionals to put fake blood on him, and then someone took a picture to prove that he had murdered someone or something like that. I mean, a lot of these events, a lot of these things are staged. It's very easy for Harry just simply to have a mannequin and not show its face, or have a stand-in actress or actor kids stand in. I mean, how in the world, if this is a deep black woman, as she claims, which is a joke because she looks white to me. You have to ask. My mom watched her on TV for many, many years and didn't even know she was mixed race. So, um, you know, she claims that, oh, the royal family are racist, blah, 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 blah. But then no one asks, well, why did she say that? Or what happened? Why would people think that? I think under Queen Elizabeth II, the royal family had a really impeccable reputation. Yeah, they're stuffy, but people in Britain, Great Britain, and England are much different than Americans to begin with. I mean, you have to know that right away if you go over there, travel over there. I mean, it's totally different, and people don't realize it. These media people do not realize it. Okay, let's keep going here. I may have to skip a few seconds over here.
After 9/11 to join the military, becoming an Army Ranger, volunteering for service in Afghanistan, only to be killed by
And he's a good-looking dude too,
friendly fire. To nobody
unlike Baldy over here and his weirdo wife.
surprise afterward, the cause of his death was covered up by the U.S. government,
Yeah,
as was Tillman's knowledge of the U.S.-backed opium trade in Afghanistan. The U.S. government, along with the media partners like ESPN, tried to use Pat Tillman as a pro-war propaganda figure. But over the years, and thanks in large part to the devotion of Pat Tillman's mother and his other family members, the truth is coming out, though there are still some questions surrounding Tillman's death, and we'll continue to ask them. But with all of that said, for Prince Harry to get an award named for someone like Pat Tillman, it's all...
You tell me that doesn't look like Prince Charles right there.
just a huge slap in the face. He's supposedly getting this award for his work with the Invictus Games, which is like an Olympic-style sporting event for wounded veterans. But let's remember here,
people in the U.S. really don't know about it unless you read the tabloids and are interested in this couple. This isn't mentioned. We have so many problems going on here. If you go on the Craze channel, I mean, there were just multiple shootings and at least one death last night. All you have to do is type the date in. Shootings in Milwaukee, July 7th, 2024. Shootings in Milwaukee, July 8th. Here we are in a week hosting the RNC convention. There is nothing going on. It's what's going on is there will be protests, and it will be very anti-Republican and very anti-Trump. For anyone that does come here, not that anyone's listening to me or anything, just be aware that shit's going to go wrong for you because it's going to be intentional. The only thing, I mean, the things that they like to do are, if you're having a meeting in a room, turn the air conditioning off when it's hot. That's a favorite. Or make it hot in a venue intentionally so you're uncomfortable. If it's like 90 degrees out, 100 degrees out, which sometimes it is, very high humidity. It's been super humid out down here. There are many parking restrictions right now, and they're putting a negative spin on that. Like, oh my God, here's what you need to know about the Republicans coming in. We're here. You're not going to be able to park your car anywhere. That type of thing, which that's the only thing they're saying about it. They were going to, the media here, they were going to do like a special, like nightly update, blah, blah, blah. But as I said on my previous video on the Craze channel, the Dems they are like freaking out trying to get shit done so they can take these steel in this county, in this city. I mean, that is their number one bleeping goal. As each election goes by, you can feel the tone of what's going on around you. It's not too hard to figure it out. In 2016, it was Bernie. I met people at bars that would just come up to me and gush and tell me how they're involved in a campaign, and then tell me stuff that's happening in the campaign office, such as nobody wants Hillary, blah, 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 blah. So in 2016, people just didn't come out. Plus, we had rules in place from a Republican governor. 2020, they get rid of him. It's a dry 2018, they get rid of him. 2020 election, it's like we're getting Trump the fuck out of office at all costs because in 2016 they did not stand with their candidate. The Bernie signs remained up or came down. Some people replaced it with Hillary signs, but maybe a week before the election. No one was jazzed, and no one was at the polls. So and then you have a younger group of voters coming in, and you had a certain, the people from 2016 are older now, and you have a new group coming in, and they are radicalized. So I can see how this was the stupidest city. I could see like maybe a city like Miami would have been good. But Milwaukee during high crime season? Oh, how fucking stupid. No. I mean, in a state that has a Dem governor that's a dick and that is putting voting drop boxes, I should go stuff them. I'd probably get caught. It's very easy. You get the forms in the mail, they're filled out for you. It's like language of a fourth grader. All right, let's go back to Harry. So I can just see things going in the toilet.
Here, Prince Harry was himself a willing participant in Afghan war propaganda. He was this royal family member of the British military, and they used that.
I don't know what happened. Okay. I have to start this over. Shit. Did I lose my internet here?
To take cameras out and follow him around in Afghanistan and showcase him being this.
Well, I don't necessarily. That's his opinion again. We know that it was something different. Prince Harry was a drug addict and an alcoholic, and in order to get his ass like straightened out, he joined the military because he was going nowhere. He didn't have a life. His life was partying, dating Chelsea Davy, and he didn't have a career. And everyone else did. So he was completely fucked up. So he decides to join the military, which is easy enough for him to do. Goes through the training and shit, and then gets set up in a nice, cushy situation over in Afghanistan and basically doesn't do anything. And if Stu would do his homework, this is why these people piss me off, he would find that there are veterans that did serve with him that basically have stated that he didn't do shit. He never did a helicopter himself. He was like always like co-pilot or something like that. He wasn't really in combat. I believe some of these scenes were staged, as we were talking about, very easily done. Harry's very good at that. He's got a childlike mind. He sat in a tent and played video games. We all know that. And he was elevated and protected because he was the Queen's grandson. You think that's something that they would have actually... Plus, he's an idiot.
Being this good soldier who's supposedly fighting on the front lines of the war on terror. He's the opposite of Pat Tillman, the polar opposite. Tillman was a renegade and a truth seeker whose legacy was abused by his government, and Prince Harry is a member of a disgusting royal family that the award. And so did Pat McAfee on a recent episode of the Pat McAfee Show, which airs on ESPN. Take a look.
ESPN. The ESPYs are taking place here in a couple weeks. Promotions taking place. A lot of conversation about Pat Tillman's name, American hero, obviously football guy, who had a full football career ahead of him, said, nah, I need to go serve the United States of America. Ends up passing away with Friendly Fire, which was a whole scene of itself. Now there's an award named after him, as there should be in the sports world, because that is somebody who is the definition of selfless. It's going to Prince Harry. Oh. I don't even think he's a prince anymore, right? He said, don't call me that?
Yeah, he's been excommunicated as well.
Chosen, not... See, why is the ESPYs do that? You know what I mean?
This is...
Bullshit. He still wants to be referred to as a prince. He'd be Harry Dumbarton, wouldn't he? Or Well, he used to call himself in the army Harry Wales. All right, let's go.
This is like actually the most embarrassing thing I think I've ever seen in my
But it's
entire
for
life.
sports people.
Well, yeah, that's what the award is for. Yeah, somebody who's committed their life to sport and everything like that. It's
Now, whatever you think about Pat McAfee, you've got to give him some credit here. He's usually set up to be that goofy white guy that you watch and not take too seriously, but he's breaking out of the mold here. He's calling out ESPN, and rightfully so, because he knows that they're making a total mockery of Pat Tillman's legacy, which is probably what they set out to do in the first place. John Miller's been following this story. He joins us now to discuss this. John, your thoughts on all of this?
I guess the only thing that I would differ is if you're like McAfee and still sitting around a table discussing ESPN's ESPY Awards and surprised by this. I mean, how many years are we going on this where ESPN is, as you said, a propaganda arm? And
I hope that's not too loud.
how many years are we going to sit there and be shocked that ESPN would make a political move, would try to make a political statement? None of this is surprising. Sports has been bread and circuses for years now, and it's the perfect award. It's the perfect statement for the kind of bread and circuses propaganda entertainment that the sports.
This is from a couple of years ago, though, right?
Industry has become. We're going to give this award to this guy who basically abandoned his country. Not that the Royal Post was anything astonishing to begin with.
This is where they get the story wrong, but let's keep going. I mean, they aren't aware of what happened, and he's just been dying to go back.
To begin with, but he left that. And now it just seems like ESPN wants to make the right political statement and wants to entertain their audiences who tune into their sports just to be entertained and to be hit over the head with political messaging that they don't even know they're getting hit with.
Right.
And so my only thing is, why is this guy still sitting around the table? Leave the table. Do something meaningful with your life. The idea that these people are still sitting around a table discussing the ESPYs and shocked and horrified that ESPN would pull such a move is at this point is like, get with the picture.
Do you think that this is something similar to Tucker Carlson when he remained at Fox?
Oh boy, no, not at all. Not at all. See, this is where Stu loses me. Tucker wanted a different audience, and he hasn't changed really anything he said. He hasn't done anything groundbreaking. And here's my next question. Who the fuck is paying Tucker Carlson? Like, you're on Twitter and you click over him and he gets paid that way? I won't ever follow him. And I don't follow anyone on Twitter that even retweets or likes any of his shit, because he's CIA asset. I mean, it's all over my Craze channel. He's not. This is where I part ways with Stu. I think what Stu wants is he wants to be like Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson. He wants to stand out and make a shitload of money and have a nice studio and do a podcast. It's just what I think. We're going to skip over the Tucker shit because he's a Swanson, for fuck's sake. His daddy worked in the government for a propaganda arm his entire childhood. He worked for Voice of America, and he did all kinds of things for the government where they were feeding propaganda to the people of the country here. And Stu is right. Like, he goes it so far, and then he turns and he compares Pat McAfee to Tucker Carlson. Come on, give me a fucking break. I don't think so. This guy is such a piece of shit. Okay, let's go.
To you, Tucker's can't be bridged. I now realize some of these truths. I'm pissed off by it, and I'm going to say what I can and push the envelope until the gap.
Oh, you're not pushing the envelope. You do just a teeny weeny bit, and then you stop. Because you have sponsors too.
Gap can't be bridged.
It's definitely
And then he dyed his hair blonde too, but whatever.
possible, because if you have a large platform and you have numbers, it does work in your favor to play ball with powers that be, because it's a tug, it's a push and pull. It's like, okay, well, I have this major audience, I have this major corporate backing. I'm shit, because I think at the end of the day, the American people is hungry. The American
So look at what This is what he entitles this. He titles this section of his podcast, "Woke Nancy Boy Prince Harry to receive Pat Tillman ESPY Award." Okay.
American people is receptive. The American people, they're not as stupid as I
Oh yes, they are.
think Fox brass would like you to think. And so he had the numbers and he had the clout, for lack of a better term, to actually be able to say, hey, no, watch show is really tenable. Even with Tucker, who was...
So he goes on Twitter? Oh, come on. Good luck with that.
Was the top of his game, able to...
The rigged, Vegas enriching, insider trading, the right people, billions of... You're all over alternative dissident, again, homosexual sex and rainbow everywhere. So, I mean, this is a corporation, ESPN, that's owned by Disney, who is also...
Right there. ESPN is owned by Disney. I don't think we need to know anything more. What happened was the agents of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. And they probably have been pushing for more than a year. I think that this has been in the works for longer than just since last year, put it that way, because it's an annual event. I'm guessing that Meghan, her agent, they were just looking for something to put Harry out in front of people. Let's keep going. We have more to discuss on this.
Also owned by the people who have occupied our government, who all claim to be Jewish or whatever that is. Tucker, I mean, everybody knows that. Do you think that, this guy could actually be sanctioned or lose his job, or at least...
Again, I have to scan over some of this shit. I know it's offensive to people. He doesn't really say anything, but I know that my viewers find it offensive. So I'm just letting you know that I know that you know that. So I'm trying to get over that.
Or at least get a sternly written email?
I think it will rise.
People worry about the net assets.
So that's it there. I wanted to show you another article that sums things up pretty good. I'm sorry if I sound a little shaky sometimes, and I just have had the last few weeks have been a little bit hard on me, and stuff like that. So it's like just my health is a little bit. I'm concerned that I have an infection again, where I was hospitalized for 7 weeks. And I was told last summer, and I was told by my doctor that she feels it was going to come back. She was almost positive. And I need to try to get in touch with her tomorrow to see if she can order some tests to see if I have anything going on. I'll just leave it there. I have MRSA because of some hardware that was left in my body, because of 3 rods in my pelvis. And it's very painful, and that's it. And no, I'm not taking pain meds. I wish I had something to take, but no, I can't do that. It's not even that. It's tolerable with ice packs. So if you've been in the hospital or had broken bones for an extended amount of time, you'll get what I mean. It's like sort of like it doesn't really help anyway. Why bother? all it does is make me cloudy. So, but I am feeling a little shaky anyway. Um, so we've got Prince Harry is now stunned by the backlash to his SB nomination for the Pat Tillman Award for Service. See, okay, let me finish this. After Afghan veterans' own mother said she would have preferred it to go to someone else less privileged. Well, I hope that Pat Tillman's mom keeps speaking up. No, I was a big supporter of that war, and I was a big supporter of Bush and the right. No one knew what was going on during 9/11. It was like we were in the height of good times, and all of a sudden it just like that, and plus I lost in one of my IRAs, I lost half of it overnight. And I was pretty upset. Luckily, it was like it wasn't that much. It was only like $50,000. So that was just, not like killer. But still, you go from, you go down to half of that, and that puts a strain on things. And it could have just been the way I had it invested too at the time. But you go back to shit like that, and it's worrisome. It's very troubling, depending upon how old you are, what you remember, what you were doing, stuff like that. So let's read this article. So basically, I'm not against. I mean, I think that what Pat Tillman did was really valor. Now, Prince Harry at the time, I know that when I was in England in, I think, 2003 or 4, and people were not happy with Americans, or even when I went on a trip in 2001 right after 9/11, and people were furious with the U.S. and with talking about going to war and all that shit. There was an uncomfortable feeling. Some people, had said stuff to us like, "Oh, you're American." So Harry, like, Great Britain did not get attacked in 9/11, but there was a war to go to, and Harry decided to go. But it wasn't the same emotion. That would have been if someone would have come and blown up St. Paul's Cathedral, if you can imagine that. It was, but there were many thousands of people died that day, though. So you have to just remember all that shit. So for America, it was different. And so the Americans that are talking about this, like Stu, they're looking at it from an American perspective and not a British perspective. I don't think the royal family propped him up over there as a war propaganda. I think that he wanted to go there because he was such a fucking failure. He knew he was, and he saw this as a way out. That's my opinion. Okay. So Prince Harry was stunned by the backlash he faced after being nominated for an award after an American war hero killed in Afghanistan, sources have claimed. He's stunned. Harry, 39, is due to be honored with the Pat. I'm not going to say his title and shit. He's not worthy of it. Is due to be honored with the Pat Tillman Award for service for his Invictus Games at the glitzy ESPY Awards in LA on July 11th. Tillman, an American football star who gave up a £3 million, £3 million, they say here, contract to enlist in the U.S. Army after 9/11, had his life tragically cut short at the age of 27 when he was killed in friendly fire while serving in Afghanistan for 20 years. or excuse me, 20 years ago. I do apologize. Well, his mother, Mary, who said he was not consulted about Prince Harry being given the award bearing her son's name, told the Mail last week, "I am shocked as to why they would select such a controversial and divisive individual to receive the award. There are recipients that are far more fitting. There are individuals working in the veteran community that are doing tremendous things to assist veterans." But it's supposed to be tied to sports, too. These individuals do not have the money, resources, connections, or privilege that Harry has. I feel that those types of individuals should be recognized. And here is Weirdo after she came out of hiding, and Weirdo 1 and Weirdo 2. Here's Tillman, who actually could have even done some modeling as far as I'm concerned. But see, we don't make men like that in America anymore. It seems as though that breed is come and gone. In Obama's America, that has been fundamentally transformed. Okay, the ESPYs is run by Sports TV Network. Pat Tillman Award. I'm going to paraphrase this. Last year it went to members of the Buffalo Bills American football team training staff who revived a dying player on the field. Okay. I'm not saying anything about that. I mean, did that person ever recover? But I mean, that is something that's big. You ran out on the field, you saved someone's life. ESPN said Harry was honored for his tireless work in making a positive impact for the veteran community through the power of sport. I think that's stage 2. I think that there are the visuals and the optics for the Invictus Awards, especially with Meghan being there, the optics and Netflix and all these cameras filming all this crap, the optics are stagey. They choose, I think they had the same guy 2 years in a row, which is fine, but it was sort of the way they had him made up, his backstory, Hispanic guy, blah, 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 with wife and autistic child or whatever. I don't know, something like that. But a real American hero like Pat, yeah. I don't really think we have many left anymore anyway. But if anyone has been in an accident and has been disabled by anything, my heart goes out to that person, really. I don't believe that Prince Harry has worked tirelessly. I think he has a staff that does a bunch of shit for him, and then he films himself doing it to make himself feel good and popular. But people don't recognize him here in the U.S. Sources told The Telegraph that it is a bitter pill to swallow when the Duke of Sussex is criticized about anything relating to his military record and work with veterans. Well, that's too bad. You put yourself out there in the U.S. and you get slapped down. It's not England. Harry's working Invictus. That's his real passion. Okay, that's fine. That's what he truly cares about. Well, is he out there every day doing that? Because he could get a job at a veterans hospital and work with disabled people there, because there are a lot of them. I mean, has he ever gone to like Walter Reed or whatever? Like, what exactly does he do all day? Okay, so I'm not even going to read some of this shit. Oh, I didn't know this. He was recognized as a living legend of aviation. I don't believe he flew that helicopter, though. He joined the likes of Buzz Aldrin, James Lovell, and Tim Peake in picking up the prestigious award. Admiral Lord West, former head of the Royal Navy, brutally said he is not a living legend. Well, he's a fuck up. Come on, people. The latest backlash became almost straight after ESPN announced on June 27th Harry would be given the Pat Tillman Award for service. Now, I want to just say something to you here. I believe this picture of Harry is staged. I really do. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's not a real situation or potential situation, but they found an area that was safe enough to shoot photos of him and got him dressed up and put his gear on. And this is a propaganda picture. It's a picture to make Harry feel good about himself. I don't believe he ever really saw combat. Okay. A petition to urge ESPN to reassess its decision boasted almost 68,000 signatures in 10 days. It said Pat Tillman exemplified duty, honor, and sacrifice. He gave up his successful NFL career to serve his country after 9/11, tragically lost his life during his service. Awarding this honor to someone who does not reflect the award's intent diminishes, its value and disrespects Tillman's memory. Okay. And then they talk about Pat McAfee. We should celebrate sports. The worldwide leaders should celebrate sport, but doing something like this is obviously trying to piss people off. No, well, good job. He said they should create a new category just for the Duke. It's about like ESB for royal family member who doesn't want to be called royal family member who loves sports. Does Harry get involved in anything in the NFL? I don't think so. Okay. So again, I think that there is a narrative and a story that the U.S. puts out there, the U.S. media puts out there about Prince Harry being a hero, getting away from the evil queen, the racist royal family, that we're against a white chick, but they don't know the backstory and they don't know enough about the royal family and about what a dick Prince Harry is. So the U.S. media just has a certain story they put out. And I don't believe they're allowed to deviate away from that. And I just wish somebody would say, where the fuck are these kids? Because they don't exist. Okay. Let me just see if any of these pictures, we have any pictures to criticize. Look at this idiot. He is really a doofus. Okay. The comments are there, but I spoiled little boy. He thinks he deserves the world when actually all he deserves is to be ignored. That's true. That will not happen because he has an agent that he pays a lot of money to put his name out there and just put a certain narrative in the American media. And the U.S. right now is so completely fucked up that it doesn't really have time or desire to go and really look at what happened with these two and to see what the grift and the phoniness that is Meghan Markle. All right. Okay, signing off.